Good morning, boys and girls. So today we are going to read a story. And as we read this story, let's focus on two things. The first thing is that good readers pay attention to how they feel about the story or how characters in the story feel. The second thing we need to focus on is making sure that we think about things we already know to help us understand the story better. So let me show you a little bit of me using what I know to kind of guess what might happen in the story. Here I see there's a lion. I've never met a lion, but I know that lions are fierce and sometimes they could be really scary. So that can help me to understand what this character here might be feeling. So let's begin. Our story is called A Lion on the Path. There once lived a man and woman who were farmers in far-off, beautiful Africa. Now, even though their farm was very small and the man and woman had to work hard to make a living, they felt very lucky. They even grew enough extra vegetables to sell in the village on market day. One day, the man and woman were working under the hot sun in their sweet potato field. "What wonderful sweet potatoes we will have to sell on market day!" exclaimed the woman. And then she remembered, "Oh my, today is market day. I must hurry or I'll miss it altogether." With that, she lifted the basket of potatoes onto her head and ran off. "Be careful, dear," the man called after his wife. "A fierce lion was seen along the path and goes over the mountain. It's safer to take the long way to the village." "You worry too much," laughed the woman. "I promise to be careful." When she came to the place where the two paths started, the sun was already high in the sky. "If I take the long way, I will surely miss market day," she thought. "Better to take a chance and follow the short path." Back at their sweet potato field, the man became more worried. "My wife promised to be careful," he thought, "but she was in a hurry. I wonder which path she took." Finally he stopped working, and with his hoe in his hand, he too set off toward the village. When the worried man got to the place where the two paths separated, he saw the woman's footprints on the shorter path, the one near which the fierce lion had been seen. As he followed her footprints, he saw the basket with all the sweet potatoes tumbled about on the path. Thinking the worst had happened, he dropped his hoe and started running. Around the next bend he stopped when he saw his wife standing beside a large rock, and there, watching her, was a fierce lion with a hungry look in his eyes. "If only I hadn't dropped my hoe along the path, I could chase the lion off," thought the man. "What can I do to save my wife now?" Then the man remembered he still had his mbira hanging from his belt where he always kept it. Let's stop here for a second to ask ourselves a question. What is an mbira? Could be a rock or a stick. Let's see if I'm right. An mbira, dear listeners, is an African musical instrument, like a very small piano. We were wrong about the rock. A musical instrument? How can this help the man? So look here. I think that must be the mbira. Right there, it looks like a musical instrument that you might play just like a little piano. The man quickly began to pluck out a tune on the mbira. Ting, pling, link, Plink it went. The music startled the lion, and it looked toward the man, fascinated with the sounds. Quick, the man whispered to his wife, run to the village. The woman ran toward the village. Now the man wanted to run after her, but the lion crept toward him. And each time the man stopped playing the mbira, the lion began to growl. So the man stood very still and continued to play until his thumbs were sore. Just then a small voice said, I've always wanted an mbira, it whispered. If you give me yours, I'll play it so you can get away. The man looked down, and there was a rabbit. Wait a minute. A rabbit? How can a rabbit help? Would a lion be afraid of a rabbit? He was surprised, but gladly agreed. And still playing, he slowly bent down to hand the mbira over to the rabbit. As the rabbit played, the lion turned to look at it. So the man quickly made his escape and ran to the safety of the village. Well, now I see. It was the music that kept the lion occupied. Meanwhile, the rabbit continued to play. Soon it began to move slowly backward. The lion crept forward, but the rabbit just kept playing and hopping backwards until plop! It dropped right out of sight and into the little hole where it lived. When the rabbit disappeared, the music stopped, leaving the lion wondering if it had all been a dream. So he walked away humming an mbira tune as he looked for his dinner. If you wanted to tell this story to a friend, how could you draw a picture to help you tell it? I would draw a picture. I think of the lion and the rabbit because that was my favorite part of the story. And then in the back, I would show the farmer and his wife getting away to the village because they were saved since the rabbit was so kind. They were able to get away and sell their sweet potatoes at the market. Okay, so why didn't the woman go the long way to the market? It was because it was getting late in the day and she wanted to sell as much as she can at the market before it closed. How did the woman feel when she met the lion? I think she felt scared. How do you know? Well, remember, I thought at the beginning that lions are scary. We already knew that. And in this story, she was hiding behind a rock from the lion. So that's how I know she was afraid of the lion. What did the farmer do to help his wife escape the lion? The farmer took his mbira from his belt and played music. What happened at the end of the story? Rabbit came to help. How did Rabbit help? He played the mbira and then plopped right back into his hole and was able to save himself. Very good. Okay, good listening, and I'll talk to you later.